We're rewinding the clocks of time. We're going back 15 years ago. I had just graduated from high school. I was trying to decide what I was going to do with my life, and I was awaiting to leave for Navy boot camp. I remember hearing that this little known studio, at the time not really well known at all, called Rocksteady, was getting ready to release this bad boy right here. I saw a trailer for it and it had me hooked. I was sold that this game was going to be game changing. It was going to be remarkable. But I had to temper my expectations because during that time, not many licensed games were really good. And I'm just telling you the truth. I remember the game before this one was Batman Begins, and it was a licensed title from the movie. And it was terrible. That's all I got to say. It was bad. And this game came in and it changed the whole superhero genre for the better. And I feel it did a little bit more than just change the superhero genre. I think there's plenty of games that are modeled off of what this bad boy, Batman Arkham Asylum, laid before it. And Rocksteady put their name on the map as one of those studios that could get the job done and make an amazing, amazing game. So we got an article from Kotaku we're going to talk about, and we're going to dive into it. And, I'm going to put my input in on it. So let's get into it, guys. So 15 years ago, Batman Arkham Asylum changed superhero games forever. And by the way, they're on sale. Batman Arkham Asylum and its sequels are on sale for incredible prices during the first game's anniversary. Now and then you see something that reminds you that the passage of time marches on so quickly. 100% true. Yesterday, August 25th, was Batman Arkham Asylum's 15th anniversary. That's right. What is arguably the most well-regarded game starring Bruce Wayne ever made is old enough for a learner's permit. When you put it that way, I feel extremely old. The Arkham series has seen better days, though, as the most recent entry in Rocksteady's DC Universe, Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, is rightfully diverse. But looking back where it all began, the Arkham Asylum was a truly remarkable experience that set a new bar for what we expect out of a superhero game. If you've never played it, the original games and its sequels are in a bundle on Xbox, PlayStation, Humble for $10. I'm going to tell you guys right now, I highly recommend buying them. I highly, highly recommend it. They are amazing, amazing games. And in my opinion, Batman Arkham City is probably by far the best one out of all of them. This should have, Arkham City should have won Game of the Year in 2011 instead of Skyrim. I'm just saying. And on top of that, the ending for Arkham City, I'm not going to spoil or anything, but has probably one of the best endings ever. The voice acting in the Arkham series, it's just impeccable because you got the late, great Kevin Conroy, which is the voice of Batman, will always be the voice of Batman. And of course, you got the other side of the coin, and that is Mark Hamill playing as the Joker. You can't choose a better dynamic duo for a hero and a villain than Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill. All right, moving on. Arkham Asylum opens up with a grimy intro sequence during a rainy Gotham City night, and the vibe doesn't let up. Absolutely agreed. The Cape Crusader is delivering his arch nemesis, the Joker, to the titular facility. As he and the guards bring in the clown, Batman sees a few of the people he's put in there for over the years, such as Killer Croc, and they're not thrilled to see the hero. They're not. It quickly becomes clear that the whole pantheon of Batman villains is being kept there. And it's no surprise that the Joker springs a trap and takes over the facility. And we're quickly hit with the realization that Bruce, in addition to tackling a number of colorful characters in his rogue gallery, is also going to have to face a few of his demons in Arkham before he can go home to Alfred. Let me tell you, the opening sequence to this, when you're like it says, it's a rainy night. You're speeding in the Batmobile down the road. You make it to Arkham. You pull the Joker out of the Batmobile. You slam him onto. It's basically a gurney for prisoners. They strap him to it, and you're just walking through the middle of Arkham, and you're just getting heckled. It really does set the atmosphere for what's to come. The rest of the Arkham games were good in their own right, but none of them quite captured the same feeling of entrapment and dread you feel in Arkham Asylum, which I do agree to a certain extent, because Arkham City definitely was a massive, and I mean massive, open world experience, because it takes part in a portion of of Gotham City. Arkham Asylum does a very good job at keeping it as basically an open world experience, but much more linear than Arkham City or even Arkham Knight for that point. And the lesser known, bastard stepchild known as Arkham Origins, which Arkham Origins is actually a very good game in its own right. This was before the series made a pivot to open world. See? So its Metroidvania structure feels more focused, with Bruce gaining new tools and letting him explore the new areas of of the Asylum and face new foes. There's a real sense of discovery and progression in Arkham Asylum that you lose in the larger scale of the later games. One of the most memorable tools is the explosive gel, which can be used to blow up weak walls and access new areas in which, despite his grim Kevin Conroy's voice seriousness, he sprays into the shape of a bat, suggesting a bit of playful, whimsical lurks under the cowl. Like I said, nobody does Batman better than Kevin Conroy. We lost him a couple years ago, and hands down, he is Batman. He is. Flying around Gotham is one way to feel like Batman, but having to make the most of a situation with tools and tech is the heart of Bruce Wayne. I agree. And I think the other thing that Arkham Asylum did very well is the use of, stealth. Or you could go in loud. Like, grappling from gargoyle to gargoyle. It's just, it's so good. But the utility belt is only one part of being Batman. The world's greatest detective also gets investigated crime scenes with detective vision mechanics. The tool Rocksteady gives you to track down evidence and recreate visualizations of the crime captured this part of Batman's character better than probably any other video game adaptation of the time. It's something that games like Cyberpunk 2077 are still emulating to this day, and it was a welcome bit of thoughtful character building and attentiveness to the environmental details between traversing the asylum and beating up baddies. Oh, I agree. And God, the Arkham games have such a snappy, fluid combat system. One makes you feel both acrobatic and powerful, a force to be reckoned with. The hand-to-hand combat is slick. People joke it's a rhythm game, allowing you to bounce between goons with a fluidity that practically had Bruce dancing on the battlefield. I wonder if they're going to mention it. It doesn't. But by the way, if it wasn't for the Arkham games, we would have never gotten, the Lord of the Rings Shadows of Mordor games, because those were actually supposed to be Gotham by Gaslight, if you guys didn't know, which is a Victorian era style Batman. On top of that, I feel if it wasn't for the Arkham games, we would have never gotten the Mad Max game, which, in my opinion, is criminally underrated. It's an amazing game. Like, it's just like Batman, except it's significantly open world, and you got to continuously upgrade your vehicle as you go through. But anyways, but it wouldn't be Batman if he just comes in fist swinging as a rule. Arkham Asylum's stealth mechanics were pretty forgiving, which they were. But they let you perch above unsuspecting baddies and let you pick them off one by one. Suicide Squad kills the Justice League even has a whole level that's a homage to this terrifying feeling bad guys must feel knowing Batman was waiting to descend upon them like prey. I think the other cool thing about a lot of the levels of Arkham Asylum was when you would go into like detective mode, you could see like the bad guys' like their heart rates and everything. So as you're playing through, and if they know you're in the room, their heart rates would go from like 70 to like 120. And as you would pick them off one by one, their heart rates would get higher and higher and higher. And on top of that, the AI would act differently as you would go through. And there's a ton of boss battles. Each spotlighting an iconic Batman villain with sequences that is unlike anything else you play in the game. Scarecrow's hallucinogen puts you through a nightmare that only a utility belt can wake you up from. Poison Ivy uses her thorny plant friends to trap Batman in her tangled vines. The Joker fight is notorious, derided for feeling silly and anticlimactic, but overall the boss fights are some of the most memorable and rewarding parts of making your way through the Arkham Asylum, which 100% is true. I tell you, the Scarecrow scene right here, in my opinion, is amazing, especially like when you start hallucinating and like the prison just like Arkham Asylum just comes apart. It is mind blowing. Like the sequence for that, fighting Poison Ivy, very, I would say it's up there, but it's not as iconic. And then of course, like fighting Killer Croc, there's all kinds of stuff. And the one thing I hate is when a game actually includes like tracking stuff down. So they're like, oh well, you have to find 100 of this. Batman Arkham Asylum actually made it a ton of fun to find all the Joker's riddles. That's one of the few games I've actually done it in. The future of the Arkham series feels uncertain these days as Suicide Squad has failed to meet Warner Brothers' expectations, which is why Warner Brothers, as of right now, is shopping around their video game division. Does Rocksteady get back to basics with the next game? I'd hope so. But I also wouldn't be mad if the studio got to making something new. Arkham Asylum still stands out as one of the most well-designed superhero games of the era. And in the pursuit of an open world, it feels like we lost some of the clever restrictions Batman had in the first outing. I'd love to see that the team gets a chance to work with these constraints again, even if it's not a return to the Caped Crusader. This is the hard part, and especially with this. Rocksteady has to they're basically going to have to follow whatever Warner Brothers lays in front of them. And that's one thing that sucks. So, of course, Warner Brothers sees all these other game companies that have live service games or even games that are just riddled with microtransactions. So, of course, just like Arkham City, just like all the other, ones, especially Arkham City, the amount of, I guess you can say, outfits that you could buy to play in the game was just astronomical. It was ridiculous. Like who would go out there and buy 50 monsters to try to get the Batman Beyond skin? I don't know anybody. But I remember that being a thing, but I don't remember anybody. Let's go full screen. All right, you guys. So, a little trip down memory lane. I genuinely love Batman Arkham Asylum because it was one of the games. It was Arkham Asylum, Modern Warfare 2, and the first Red Dead Redemption. I played before I went to boot camp, and mind you, I know Red Dead Redemption came out a little bit later, but those are the three games I remember playing before I went to boot camp, and they just hold a special, place in my heart for, for that time period. And then on top of that, it doesn't help, in my opinion, my honest opinion, definitely, the Xbox 360 era was the golden era of online gaming. and just gaming in general, because it was before every game has to be live service. It was before games were just absolutely riddled with microtransactions. It was much simpler. I mean, the developers and everything were still able to go out and basically patch games to get them to where they wanted to be. But for the most part, most games on day one were shipping in a condition where they worked. They genuinely did. Where nowadays they're just cranking out the same stuff and just crossing their fingers that they're able to patch it and get it to work, you know, before the player base turns on them legitimately. Anyways, you guys, we're going to end it right there. Hopefully you guys liked that video. Comment down below and subscribe, because I can't do this kind of stuff without you guys. We're on our way to 9,000 subscribers. It's crazy. Y'all take it easy. Have a great and wonderful day. And I'll catch you guys later. Batman Arkham City Show 1 2011 Game of the Year, not Skyrim. Bye.